There seems to be a lot of talk this week in wrestling, or last week in wrestling. And it seems that a lot of the conversation is centering around the undisputed champion, a bracelet, and what I have been saying is the most important piece in the bloodline story, which is the Ula Fala. And then there's more, because then we have other people who like to say that the Ula Fala and the bracelet is over than anything else going on in wrestling right now. This is Wrestle Talk with yours truly. I am the franchise, better known to some as Podcast Tribal Chief. This week, we're not going to speak much on what has happened. As I predicted last week, they did announce a mixed match tag team match at Bash in Berlin between the Terror Twins, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, against Liv Morgan and Dirty Dom. We could assume we are going to know what the next match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk is going to be after we seen the belt whipping that CM Punk gave to Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns, according to many different sources, none of which is Dave Meltzer, has been written off until September. So he's going to be off for a few weeks. And then we have the biggest conversation of them all. Cody Rhodes, the undisputed heavyweight champion. Now, since Cody has won the undisputed title, I have been on record from the moment we did the recap show. I said I'm going to give it about 3 months. 3 months hit. It was Money in the Bank, I believe it was, where we kind of had this conversation again, where we circled back to my thoughts on Cody Rhodes' title reign so far. But it seems though as if now other people are voicing their opinion on Cody Rhodes and his title reign and how it's rinse and repeat. It's the same story. It was AJ Styles. He had that respect for AJ Styles and felt like AJ Styles deserved a title opportunity. Logan Paul was, you're doing good. You're not that close to being to the champ yet, but you're doing good. I'll give you this title opportunity. And then now we have Kevin Owens. It's kind of the same thing. He deserves a title opportunity. It's the fighting champ. And this is why I always say, and a lot of fans will say the same thing, we all love the chase of the babyface chasing the title. But once they have the title, it's not the same. The aura of being, the thought of being the champion is now just like, all right, I guess. And now with the emergence of the OTC, the original tribal chief, Roman Reigns, now the question seems to be, who is the bigger babyface? Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. I don't really consider Roman Reigns to be a babyface. I will say he is a tweener. He is like a Rhea Ripley. He is like a Brock Lesnar, where the fans love him, but he could toe that line. And he could be a heel. He can be a face, depending on the story. But it just seems as if there's a lot of things that can happen that could lead to the one thing that everybody wants more than, I'll say, Roman Reigns and The Rock, is people want Cody to go heel. Now, if you are new to this channel, I am a fan of heels. I am. I love them. It's literally just taking who you are and just turning it up 100. But I will say, I don't see a scenario where Cody will ever turn heel. If it was to happen, we are talking Hulk Hogan-esque heat. We are talking seeing children on TV, on social media, across the globe, crying at the sight of their hero, the American Nightmare, going heel. I mean, it is up there with when Hogan turned heel. And Grant, y'all know, I'm not the biggest Hulk Hogan fan, but I will say Hogan turning heel was the biggest heel turn next to when Austin joined forces with McMahon. And we all know how that ended. But it was just the shock value of seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin shaking hands with the man that he has despised and has been feuding with for years. To see them two now merge and they're working together was uncalled. So when we seen Hulk Hogan drop the leg drop on Macho Man and joined and was the third member and created arguably the one of the greatest factions, some will say the greatest faction of all time in the New World Order, we seen the outcome. We seen beverages thrown into the crowd, thrown into the ring, debris thrown into the ring. All this shit was just thrown in the ring, and everybody was just booing Hogan. And Hogan was the most hated person in wrestling at that time. Cody has it, but the question is, will Cody pull it off? Will they pull and execute that move? I don't see it happening. I just don't. Now, when it comes to his title reign, I've said the stories aren't really that good. He needs the perfect heel. He needs the perfect opposition to make his title reign be one of the best. And you have that. And you probably should pull the trigger and execute after this right here after Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes at Bash in Berlin, you have to start telling the story of Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Because who else do you have on SmackDown's roster that could face Cody? Are we going to do Cody and Roman again? Now, Grant, I said it last week. I thought we would have, and we would have had it where these two fought. Solo interfered. Cody helped them out. Then that's when you can tell Randy's story. And maybe you still go down that road. But you have to have Randy Orton be that person to get the best out of Cody in regards to making Cody's title reign matter. Because right now, it doesn't matter. The matches he put on is great, but the reign itself is not going to be memorable, because what story in his title reign is going to stand out and make it be, damn, you know, I remember Cody's title reign because I remember this particular story. See, when Roman Reigns was the Universal Champion, every story that he had, maybe even with the exception of maybe Jey Uso, even though they could have really did something with that, every story that he told, it pulled you in. Everyone. I think Jey Uso and him, the second go around, not when he first became the Universal Champion, was doing the whole tribal chief and acknowledge me. Those were great. Those were the beginning of, tear-jerking story. From their first match to the Hell in a Cell I Quit match. Those two matches right there trumped tribal combat, hands down. Especially the Hell in a Cell. The Hell in a Cell trumped it by leaps and bounds. But everything that Roman has done with that title, there was meaning, there was something, there was layers to it. And you're not really getting that with Cody. You're not getting those layers. You're not getting the depths. And that's why you need that heel to bring out the best in the ring and out of the ring of Cody Rhodes. And that's where Randy Orton comes into play. Because who else are you going to get? Who else? Are you getting... I named the heels last week. Who are you getting? Carmelo? Nah, he's feuding with Andrade. Santos? No, he's feuding with LA Knight. You could, but I don't think Santos is ready for that moment. Logan Paul, you already went through that. You could do Solo, but we've already know where Solo's going. Jacob Fatu, you could pull members of the Bloodline, but that's not going to work because they're going to be focused on the Bloodline story. AJ Styles, we've already seen that. Who else? Montez? Everybody would love to see a single push from Montez, but Gargano, Ciampa, they're tag team. Could you see a Gargano? Well, not really. Not a heel Gargano, but a heel Ciampa? If we took NXT Ciampa and brought him here and he did what he did in NXT, but he did it on the main roster and he feuded with Cody, yeah, you could get that. But they're not going to. And you could slowly start to see, and I don't want this to happen, and I think it was Mark Henry that said this, where Mark Henry stated that Kevin Owens could potentially fall into the Big Show realm. And this is what he meant. Big Show is the most seesawed character in wrestling. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. And it just keeps going back and forth. He doesn't want to see that with Kevin Owens. He doesn't want to see Kevin Owens. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. 1 minute he's a heel, next minute he's a face. And he said that, and then watching SmackDown on Friday, I started to feel like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to not fully do it, but it feels as if they're trying to get Kevin Owens to go back to the Kevin Owens of old. Kevin Owens is too over with the crowd. The crowd loves Kevin Owens. So are we going to now just get the crowd to now turn on Kevin Owens? It's going to be hard, really hard. I don't want to see that, because now what you're going to do is you're going to create this when everybody knows what's really at the heart of this matter is Randy Orton for Kevin Owens. So are we going to get Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes at bad blood because they're going to create this bad blood? When I was watching Paul Heyman's interview with Sam Robinson from the Fanatic Experience that just took place this past weekend. And Sam had asked Paul about how there's always like callbacks. There's something that happens a couple months ago, and then we call back to it in the present time for these things. So everybody has noticed that for a very long time, Randy Orton always seemed to be eyeing that title. He would eye it, he would side eye it, he would do all these little small gems and details and little Easter eggs that would just make it very obvious in the fans. Us fans, we are sitting there like it's happening. They are slowly planting the seeds that we are going to get this to happen. But then it's not happening. So now we're sitting there like frustrated because why are we not executing on Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes? Because that's the story. And there's depth to that. There's history there. You can say there's history with Kevin Owens and Cody, but no, you really want to dig and you really want to get the absolute best out of Cody as a babyface? Get him with Randy. Get him with Randy. Get Randy back to that heel. Because let me tell you something. When it comes to a heel, I don't think there's levels to heels, okay? Christian is probably the most diabolical heel in all of wrestling right now. If we get a heel Randy Orton, oh, he's going to be, as far as diabolical, sick, the things that he can do, oh, he will do it. You know, Swerve, at one point, Swerve was up there because Swerve was doing a lot of shit. We need Randy versus Cody to solidify Cody Rhodes' title reign. Because if Cody Rhodes goes another title defense where it's, I pick this person, I respect you in the ring, it's that typical babyface story. People, the fans, not Cody fans, but the wrestling fans are going to start to turn. They're going to start to get Cody fatigue. Because we want something more. The title, the champion, should be the most pivotal point of SmackDown. Raw, the world champion, should be the focal point, and the undisputed champion should be the focal point on both shows. But that's not the case. Because the focal points of both Raw and SmackDown is a bracelet on Raw and the Ula Fala on SmackDown. That's what we are faced with right now. The picture. Can we disagree? I don't think there's a person that can say this is not true. This photo is not true. This photo is indeed very true. Oh, in the words of Kurt Angle, it's true. It's damn true. More so the Ula Fala. I will say more so the Ula Fala than the bracelet, because you have other things going on Raw that could, overshadow the world title. You have Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley and the whole Judgment Day story. That seems to be maybe 1B to 1A, which is the bracelet, the CM Punk Drew McIntyre story. And then 2 would be the world champion. That's not a good thing if we're basing it on how we were supposed to interpret how the wrestling is supposed to be done. The title is the most important piece to wrestling. Because as I said, if you're not in it for the championship, what are you in it for? So if you're looking at it, why is it that these two things, a bracelet and the Ula Fala, is not second tier, third tier? No, it is top tier. It is number 1. Especially that Ula Fala. And speaking of the Ula Fala, Friday, we lost another one of the Ottawa family. The other half of the Wild Samoans, Alpha. Now, Alpha and Sika are in heaven running amok with Umaga, Yoko, High Chief, Rocky Johnson, yeah, I think that's about it for the tree of the Ottawa family. But man, let's talk about what happened on SmackDown and with the Ula Fala. Now, as I've said before on numerous occasions. And if you look closely, and on SmackDown, you got a good look at how worn down that Ula Fala is now that Solo has it. You've seen it up close. In 4K, you've seen how worn down that Ula Fala was now that Solo has it. You've seen it. Now, there's different stories that I've seen emerge from SmackDown where Solo has made it clear, like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to get the acknowledgement from Roman. Tama Tonga kind of looks, no, this is yours. We did see Jacob Fatu return in boot, and they laid out and took out Roman Reigns. Like I said earlier, Roman Reigns is probably set to be gone for some time. I think they said, according to different sources, none that is Dave Meltzer, said that he is going to be sidelined at least until September 13th, which is, I believe, the debut of SmackDown on the USA Network. Can't believe that we're about to be in September. But where do we go from here? Now, Paul Heyman also during his interview stated that we don't know what else Solo has in store. There may be more coming to the bloodline. We don't know where Jimmy Uso stands. We don't know when the wise man is coming back. All of this, we don't know where Jey Uso stands. All of this seems to be layers upon layers to this story. But what we've seen, and I think this may be a true depiction of what tribal combat should be, is I think we are going to get Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, and I think it's going to be under tribal combat rules, but I think it's going to be another level. I do. I can see them taking this story, putting it into tribal combat, but I think the tribal combat is going to look a little different from what we've seen in the past. But we did see when Roman Reigns held the Ula Fala and put it over him. And that shot was the emotion, because he just lost his uncle that same day. And remember, his father and uncle bestowed upon him that Ula Fala. So for him to put that Ula Fala back on and him just at that moment soak that in was incredible. But then we know Jacob Fatu came emerging, and the rest is history. Roman Reigns is out. Roman Reigns will be out for some time. I'm curious to see what happens. I think we are going to get another one of those Solo Sikoa vignettes, and they're going to talk about how they took out Roman Reigns, and they're going to big up the fact that they did this. But I still want that Solo Sikoa by himself explaining why he said what he said in that post that he posted last week or 2 weeks ago, where he told the universe, you lied to me. Because remember, Roman Reigns said Solo Sikoa was the heir to the throne of being the next tribal chief. And with Roman Reigns losing, Solo Sikoa felt though as if it was in his right to be the next because he was told this. And it was given to him. Now, as I've always said, and I will continue to allude, who is giving the order? Because see, now, if they really want to really tell this story, now you have Alpha and Sika gone. So there is no more elders. Rikishi, he's an elder, but when you look at the story of the Adewale family and the wrestling aspect of it, Rikishi was the dancer. Rikishi was the fun-loving. There was only one time where Rikishi was serious, and that was with The Rock. Although you could say that Rikishi looked at The Rock and said, I did it for The Rock. He could bring that dumbass line back, but they could bring in that angle to some degree. But now that there is no more elders, who is the elder that's going to give the orders within the bloodline? It has to be the final boss. It has to be The Rock. He has to be the one. He has to be the elder to come down and make rules. He has to. If they really want to pull and really get, because like I said, this is greatness, storyline, greatness. Bring up reality. Bring up the fact that Alpha and Sika is gone. Now the elders are gone. Bring that up. So before I wrap this up for the day, because I didn't really like I said, there really wasn't much that I really wanted to dive into other than Cody Rhodes and the bracelet and all this, even though I haven't really talked about bracelet, which I'm about to do right now. The bracelet. We seen CM Punk surprise everybody on Monday night, coming out, attacking Drew McIntyre, and started to beat him with a belt. I feel like probably Bash in Berlin, we will get CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. I can see a strap match being the second match to happen between the two of them. Seth Rollins, as we know, has been written off. Bronson Reed is on a tear. He took out Seth. He took R-Truth out. Who's next up to be taken out by Bronson Reed? Braun Breakker defended his Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn in a 2 out of 3 fall. Beat Sami Zayn, obviously. So what's next for Braun Breakker? I do not have a slight clue, but we'll find out in foreseeable future. I could see maybe him and Ilya Dragunov, maybe, because you really don't have anybody left unless by some fucking miracle Ricochet reemerges and faces off with him. We have Damage Control. They have officially turned to baby faces. I do want to talk about Street Trash. Street Trash. That was the supposed name that WrestleVotes reported was going to be indeed the name of the Judgment Day. And I, on our Instagram page, RCW_podcast, on the story said, why would they? This is why you do not need to feed or listen to the bullshit that comes out of some of these stories, some of these websites, because the same day that this was reported on last Monday. Last Monday, they reported Street Trash was going to be the new name for the WWE, for the Judgment Day. And then later on, WWE Shop revealed new Judgment Day merchandise. Why would they release new Judgment Day merchandise if they're changing the name to Street Trash? Now, apparently now they're saying that, Finn Balor is big on implementing Street Trash because of the Damian Priest story. Wouldn't you want to do that more with Priest than having Finn do it? Doesn't make any sense, does it? We'll have to wait and see, but I guarantee you, you won't see any Street Trash merchandise coming from the Judgment Day. Tiffany Stratton, in my opinion, and these are all quick takes that I'm doing, Tiffany Stratton looks to become a face. I was watching SmackDown on Friday, as we all were, and I watched the opening segment, and as I was watching it, I said to myself, they're about to turn Tiffany Stratton to a face. You can tell. Because Nia is presenting this position of power. I'm the queen, you're the princess, bow down to me. And the crowd was behind Tiffany Stratton. You can hear the crowd cheering for Tiffy time. Are we going to see a situation where Nia Jax just bullies Tiffany, and then Tiffany turns and cashes in and I'm going to do this in spite of you, win the title, and then this is how we get a Tiffany Stratton babyface? Yeah, y'all know me. I'm not big on that. I don't want Tiffany Stratton to be a babyface, but she's over. She's over with the fans. She's over with the fans. Now, you know what is not over with the fans? Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné. The story of the biggest names in AEW women's division seem to take a downward spiral. They lost momentum. They did. This match is not going to be anything like what we expect it to be. I don't think it's going to be a good match. I think we're going to get more out of Mariah May and Toni Storm than we will Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné. I feel, though, as if Swerve is going to lose the AEW heavyweight title to Bryan Danielson. I feel that in the pit of my stomach, I see that happening. I think we may see some interference, some fuckery, but I do feel like Swerve is going to lose, especially after what happened on Dynamite last Wednesday. We are less than, no, we're not less than. All In is actually this upcoming weekend. I will not be giving a prediction show to All In. I may talk about it not next week, but the week after, because I always record on Sundays and All In is actually, I believe, on a Sunday. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays itself out. Or wait, I think it's Saturday. I don't remember. because it's AEW. But I will give y'all my thoughts on AEW's All In whenever it happens. That is it for this episode of Wrestle Talk. I really didn't want to take much of the time because I really honestly just wanted to talk about those pivotal talking points. Make sure you follow us, RCW_podcast. Also, make sure you follow Ace as well, RCW_Ace. Until next week, I will be back. Make sure, like I said, follow us, stay tuned, keep it locked. Make sure that you are watching all of wrestling because that's what we're here to do, is discuss wrestling. Let me know in the comments what y'all thought about everything that was discussed here. The pivotal. Do you agree with the fact that the bracelet and the Ula Fala is a better story than the stories of the championships that are being talked about right now? What do you think about Cody Rhodes' title reign? This is a big question, okay? Because he is the face of the company. He is the champ. Is he doing a good job as champion? Is he, when it's all said and done, if Cody Rhodes was to lose the undisputed title at Bash in Berlin, would his title reign be a success? Would it be a memorable title reign? That is the question I end you guys with. Answer it in the comments. I will be back next week. Till then, later.